What's going on, everyone? As you can see, making some good progress. We're going to jump into it and kind of get straight to the point today here. It's hot out, trying to knock this out. So I've got it leveled. I've got to kind of square it up this way, and then this extra piece I'd cut that I wasn't sure what I was going to do with, it's going to go right here. We'll get that welded on. Obviously, got to clean it up so I can weld to it. And once that's finalized, I'll eventually probably add, well, I will add a gusset or two, maybe a plate on the bottom to catch it and strengthen it. But overall, with the mock-up and everything, we're pretty much there with it as far as mounting the engine. Now I can move on to where the battery tray is going to be located. I've got that old piece of roll bar I talked about that's going to be the mount for the front to grab the radiator and fans and gauges and key switch, etc. So I was going to go and buy some bolts, but I thought about it, and I'm like, the whole mantra of the project was to be low buck from the very beginning, low buck or no buck. And got a huge bin in the garage full of like a 50-year collection of bolts between what my dad collected and gave me and what I have over the years. So why not dig through there, and even if they're mismatched, whatever. So that's what I did, and I was able to come up with bolts for each end here and to mount this plate to the bell housing. It all works, it's all good, and you know, it did what it had to do. So these plates here, I had to trim about 3/4 of an inch to an inch off the bottom. They hit. It was something I didn't anticipate when I made them. I should have shifted my pattern a little further to bottom and I wouldn't have had that issue. But it is what it is, and it come out well, and it didn't take much time to correct it. So without further ado, I'm going to quit jabbering here and get to work, get this squared up, get this bar on, and all welded up. And then we'll work to get that piece of roll bar here and trim it down, pieces we don't need on it, and I've got a section about 13 inches out of the center of it to correct the width. But we'll get to that. In the meantime, let me get to work. So hopefully that wasn't too painful to watch, me struggling to kind of, for a minute there, get everything level this way. It's still pretty good this way. It's not as good as I had it, but I'd rather this way be more level. This is good enough for now. I'll do some finish welding here and there later, but right now it can support the full weight. So I got a little tension on it right now. And actually, that leveled it front to rear like it was. So, problem solved. And we're still good this way with it. So, with that said, we're going to move on to the next, which is grabbing that piece of roll bar and getting exact measurements. I took some rough ones the other day on pretty much where I needed to section it down and how much, and start on that. I don't know that I'll get it all stitched into this today, but this is a big thing for me. Some people might be looking at it and going, yeah, but big deal for me to have it this far along. So all right, let me quit. As usual, I'm rambling. Let me quit talking, and I'm going to put a water pump on the front of this actually to give me some clearance and go from there. All right, hang tight. Okay, so got a water pump on, obviously, for mock-up, and I measured between this brace here, the front of it, up to here, and I've got about 8.5 inches in here, so should have plenty for the radiator and fans. And with that said, I'm gonna go grab said chunk of roll bar, take some more measurements, and start cutting it down today, so that I can maybe get it tacked together and kind of mocked up where it needs to be here, height-wise and all. All right, let me get to that, and we'll come right back. So here's the chunk of old roll bar I was talking about that I want to use. My framework for the engine's 40 inches overall. This is rough measurements, about 54. So quick math says we're going to have to take 14 inches right out of the center and narrow it down. These are kind of in the way. I'll have to chop them out. Overall, it should do what I want to do. It may not be pretty. It may take a lot of grinding to get it kind of cleaned up. I'm hoping that these tabs may work out for something for me for mounting the radiator. So, all right, well, enough talking. Let me put some marks on this and start hacking. Okay, so clearly I've cut the roll bar down and narrowed it, re-welded together, attached it to the cart. I didn't film any of that. Figured I'd spare everybody the boring details. I had to narrow it 14 inches, had to re-weld it. I had a little gap in one of them. My measurements weren't quite precise. I had to do a little pie cut and fill it in, and that center bar there, whatever, I don't care. I'm sure I'm gonna get all kinds of comments over time of people, oh, it's crappy, you should have ground this down more, you should have done this, should have done that. I don't really care. This is the free radiator I'm going to be using. I'm going to mount it somewhere in here. It needs to be higher up than the water pump and all that. So I'm going to have to build some sort of a shelf in here for it to sit on, and then I'll figure out some sort of bracketry to kind of come up and wrap around and grab it that bolts on. But yeah, we're getting there. You can see if I've got some used radiator hoses to cut up. The upper one probably will be just fine, but the lower one, more than likely, I'm gonna need something with the right twists and turns for the short path it needs to take. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the progress. I feel like I got a decent amount done today. Some stuff still needs to be final welded clearly, but yeah, overall not bad. Can't complain. It's taking shape. But I'm going to end it off right here. I appreciate you watching as usual. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. Every little bit helps. Am I trying to get monetized? It'd be great. If not, it is what it is. I enjoy doing this. This is free information for other people that may want to attempt it. So, like I said, inside dimensions are 36 by 48 3 by 4 foot. It's 2 by 3 box tubing for the most of it, and then I've got some 1 by 2 and a few other spots. And that brace back there that holds the plate on the back. This was all just stuff I had laying around, didn't really have a lot of money or no money at all in. So you too can get out in your garage and duplicate this. Alright, see you next time when we refine this a little bit more and get that radiator mounted.